Well, back on the trail, today's walk through Plymouth, the only city on the mighty southwest coast path. We started at the end of our ferry crossing at Stonehouse and set off on a beautiful sunny and Sunday morning towards the Royal Naval dockyards.
Yeah, Andy quite correctly pointed out, gone are the good old days of fighting the French and the Spanish. Now we just go in these buildings and eat food. That made me laugh, that did.
We promised Eric Wallis, Eric's son, when we met him in Looe back in April on our very wet walk, that we'd visit the memorial in the Royal William Naval Dockyard in Plymouth and pay our respects. And this we did. And we liked doing that very much indeed.
So this is the mouth of the Tamar, looking out into the Sound, Plymouth Sound. We've just passed the Eric Wallis MBE memorial. We met his son, who runs a café in Looe, in the pouring rain a few weeks ago. And lovely to see that tribute to him. And quite a few people out this morning on this incredible Sunday morning after the disappointing spring we've had so far, but today everything's coming out roses. Andy and me are walking today from the Kreml ferry on the Plymouth side, and we're walking around to a place called Wembury, which takes us to another river, a smaller one, the name of which I can't remember. It could be the Avon, it could be the Yelm, it could be the I think it's the Yelm, River Yelm. And that's the end of our walk today. About a 15 miler, but very straightforward going, and much of it through Plymouth. So lot to enjoy today. Gotta talk about Francis Drake at some point, what a scoundrel he was. Well, a bit of a full-on Plymouth experience here, lads. So this would have been where some folk, the Quakers, left for the New World. I'm just wondering as well, you'd be a bit wound up if you got that in your fishing net, wouldn't you? So we're below the Citadel, we've done the Hoe. Plymouth is very much coming to life here at Sutton Harbour. Barbican. Oh, I've been in a pub over there and I rather liked it. Yeah, I like this spot. I like it very much. Rockfish! That's that fantastic place we went to in Brixham. Yeah, where we had that marvellous fish and chips. Oh, this is all very lovely. I wasn't quite expecting that. That's a tanker. That's a stonker. The Thun Lundy. Well, I imagine it's a coastal tanker is what I would guess. There's certainly not an ocean going one that size, I wouldn't have thought. No, that's one over there has got more of a dredger type feel to it, although it's a fishing boat. Actually, no, I think it's a pilot's boat maybe.
Andy and me very much enjoyed our wander through the industrial port part of Plymouth, and as we wandered through this very quiet area on a Sunday, we came across a couple of quite remarkable coast path markers, and this is one laid on its side. Magic.
Well, I guess every now and again you just have to enjoy this. This is one of the relatively few times on the coast path. I'll say that again. One of the few times you're on the coast path when you just have to suck it up. This is a bit grim. That's all part of it. Much as I love the Royal Mail, It's not the most scenic of spots, this. We're heading towards a place called Turnchapel in Plymouth, which I walked around when I was down here on my own, and Andy had COVID in March a year or so ago, well, a year ago, 2022, and I like Turnchapel very much, so I'm looking forward to getting back there. We're going to stop and have a break soon because it's been non-stop since we parked at the Kreml ferry in a free car park, which amused me no end because, well, it just did. It's an absolutely perfect car park and no fee, a rarity. And anyway, we're walking through a big industrial area. It's kind of nice to see industry still existing. We're here on a Sunday, so not a lot happening today, but these are all active businesses, and that's good. Turnchapel is exceedingly handsome. I like it very much, and peaceful too. Well, funny I walked today, but first of all, that's Cornwall over there. That's Ramehead, which we walked around last time we were here. That's the last walking we did, all the way around through Coulsand and Kingsand, around Mount Edgecombe to the Kreml ferry somewhere in the middle of the picture now. This morning we started off where you can see those towers, and basically we walked all the way down one side of, well, partly the Tamar and then the River Plym. That's the Hoe, dead centre. The Citadel, or is it the Barbican? I can never remember which. I'm stood actually, by the way, on the pier at the end of Mountbatten, or below Mountbatten. So that's Plymouth, and handsome it is too. That's Mountbatten. And we've got all of that round there to walk. That's Staden Heights, and that's quite a nice path around the corner and all the way to Wembury. But the big feature here is the incredible Plymouth breakwater, approaching a couple of 100 years old, I think, mid of the 19th century. I'll check it out later on. There's a fort in the middle of it, a lighthouse at one end, and a Marco at the other end. I think that's a cross. And of course, in the early days of the construction of that thing, more than one ship smashed into it and got wrecked, but it created the calm water behind, which was intended to do, and really helped Plymouth's development as a port. Well, late afternoon on the southwest coast path, heading out of Plymouth and moving ever further, well, broadly speaking, eastwards, although we're going a bit south at the moment. We're on our way from the east side of the Sound, Plymouth Sound. We're pretty much out of it now, and heading towards Wembury, where Greta is parked. And 2/3 of today has been through the mean streets of Plymouth, which was fantastic, and we're now back in SWCP proper, really. Anyway, back on the SWCP proper, in terms of being out of an urban area. So very unusual going through Plymouth. It was quite a thrill. Paid our respects to the memorial to Eric Wallis MBE, a major figure in the creation of the Southwest Coast Path, and enjoyed the civic, the historical, and some of the modern buildings. I particularly liked walking through the industrial area of Catewater. Was it Catewater? I think Catewater. And the small village feel of Turnchapel, which is a lovely place. I was sad to see the 3 pubs there doing hardly any business, and I do hope they survive. So it is the first day of 5 days of walking down here to finish off bits in Devon that were needed to finish in light of the cancelled trip for Andy in March 2022. So some of this I've walked before, and this bit I've done before, and it was a grim grey day, so I'm enjoying the sunshine today. Walking towards a place called Haybrook Bay, which I think has a bust up hotel somewhere nearby that was in its heyday back in the Edwardian era. They even had a marine pool out on the rocky marine platform, so I'm quite looking forward to seeing that again. I'm looking forward to seeing also the charming little place of Wembury itself, and doing 15 miles on the path again. So that's probably going to end up being a little more than our average, which stands at almost bang on 14 miles a day for the entire duration of the southwest coast path. If I was to do it all again, I'd probably do slightly shorter legs. Around about 10 miles a day is ideal, and smell a bit more of the roses as I went along. And I definitely want to do many parts of this again. Well, I've had a few trusty things that have helped me do the southwest coast path. First and foremost, of course, Andy. But then a few bits of equipment, as it were, which include the marvellous iPhone with its mapping and photography function, although I've upgraded a bit on Ben and Jamie's advice to using Jamie's GoPro. But the big change, the biggest equipment change, is for the first time ever on any walk, my long-serving Volkswagen Passat 2.0 TDI, whatever that means, this week sadly has given up the ghost. On Monday it broke down. On Wednesday Mitch and his team gave it the once over, and it's probably beyond repair. A sensor's gone and would require a complete engine dismantle to replace, and I'm not bothering doing that. So I've got Jamie's Merc. So Jamie, good lad, thank you for loaning it to me. Well, I just did the gentlemanly thing and gave way to some downhillers, and I've managed to stick my right hand into a fucking gorse bush. Operator error, lads. So generally speaking, I try not to lose momentum and give way, and that's why when you do, you end up getting pricked by a malevolent gorse bush. Anyway, on we go. I'll survive. I got no nursey to look after me, Emma. You need to get your ass down here later in the week. And just coming into view around this little tumescence is the Mewstone. M-E-W, Mewstone. Well, rather marvellous structures here as we approach Haybrook Bay, or was it Haywood? I think Devonian rocks, quite thinly bedded, slightly metamorphic limestones, I believe. And then you get to this spot here, and you've got this rather pleasing upfold. You follow the beds round to the left hand side, you can see them dipping away to the left. On the right hand side you can see the rocks are dipping in the opposite direction, and in the middle is a fold. That's called an anticline, an upfold. And if you look at the long axis of it as it runs out to sea, it's ever so slightly tilted towards the sea, so that's a plunging anticline. How lovely is that in the late afternoon? Glorious sun. So I hope you enjoyed the plunging anticline. Of course, Andy quips he prefers a plunging neckline. Top comment. Journey's end at Wembury, lads. Crowded beach down there.
Beautiful sunny day, about a 15 miler, as flat as a coastal path walk ever is. Marvellous day. I got to double back into Plymouth now to pick up the Merc and then home to Marlborough. All being well and good. Lovely day. Top work from Andy and me, both on good form. And we've got a ferry first thing in the morning, or 10 o'clock tomorrow morning to look forward to, which will be an early Monday morning highlight. Well, Andy and me finished on the other side of Plymouth Sound back in late April, and between then and this walk, Emma and me travelled to Dublin and saw Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band twice. And on the second of those two concerts, he played one of my favourites from Born in the USA, the 1984 album. He played Bobby Jean, a fantastic song about his lifelong friendship with Little Steven, Miami Steve Van Zandt. So I thought about friendship again today as Andy and me got back together again on the coast path. And my song for the day, Bobby Jean, from Born USA by Bruce Springsteen and the marvellous E Street Band.